Hello and Namaskar everyone. Welcome to the Astro Satvik YouTube channel. First of all, I would love to thank you all for your love, response, and I was just surprised to see so much of your love and response. I didn't expect it this much. So thank you so much for everything. Okay. So as I've promised to make videos with PPT and charts, but currently it's not possible because what happened is the laptop arrived but it don't have MS Office. Now who will spend 5,000 more on MS Office? Okay, so I'm just trying to get a crack or a cracked version, like something like that, so that I can continue. So I'm searching for it. Once I will get it, then I will start. Secondly, that webcam quality of the laptop is not so good, so now I need to buy a tripod also. So yeah, just let me settle a few things down. I'm just busy these days because I'm tangled somewhere else. Just let me settle down and then surely we'll do the proper videos. Till then, just keep enjoying this podcast. It's more of a podcast. So, okay, what's the today's agenda? Today I will be discussing the combination for the rare astrologers, for the brilliant predictors. See, before I begin this journey, I have already started a lot of things in the previous video. I just cleared the most important doubts. The Ayash is the real base on which the horoscopes will be constructed. Then the birth timing, rectification and all. Technique I just shared for your satisfaction, because I know if I don't share a technique, most of you will feel like the video wasn't that good. So I just shared out the Ketu technique. But I've started this journey from the absolute basics. So before I go deeper into it, I thought today I must discuss a most important thing, that should you do astrology or not. Secondly, if you are doing astrology, what are your chances of becoming a great astrologer, a great predictor? Because see, nowadays India is heading towards becoming a Vishwaguru, and as expected, we are seeing the results. Every household has an astrologer now. Every person is studying astrology. Now thing is, everyone studying astrology can't become a predictor, because your knowledge has nothing to do with your predictions. Keep the knowledge aside. Predictions is a totally different game. So firstly, make it very clear in your mind what you want to do. What's your ultimate goal? If you want to pursue astrology seriously as a profession, although it don't deserve to be pursued as a profession, this is personally what I feel. But still, if you want to do it, then please check for these combinations in your chart. It will just make sure whether you will do something big or not. Secondly, if you're just learning astrology casually, then I must warn you. Because whatever we are studying or whatever we are dealing daily in our lives activate certain houses, certain signs in our horoscope, and if they are not well placed, it can just create a havoc in your life, especially the occult sciences. Because occult sciences, whether it's astrology, whether it's tantra, all of them belong to the 8th house of the mysteries, and we all know the 8th house is the most dangerous of all. It's a kind of a black hole. Once you go into it, you will never come out. It is that house which can show certain miseries in the life. The problems caused by 8th house hardly can be cured. You can't get a solution for them. That's why 8th house signify chronic diseases like the cancer, AIDS, those diseases which take a big toll on your health and finances. All of them belongs to the 8th house. So in the 8th house you can't do much. So before jumping into this 8th house ocean or the 8th house black hole, just check your horoscope. Do your 8th house is well placed or not? Is he making good combinations or not? कहीं वो afflicted तो नहीं है, isn't it's like 8th house afflicted. So check all these things before you step into astrology. Check affliction from the natural malefics. Okay, the Saturn, Mars, Rahu, Ketu, Gulika, Mandi. If Mercury is with malefics, then it will too act as a malefic. So check affliction from these. Because see, whatever you will be studying in astrology, every single thing, or whenever you will be doing astrology, it will be activating the 8th house constantly. If someone is just started his astrological journey, his 8th house is activated permanently. So now you can't afford, because see, 8th house is the most drastic house, the most transformative of all the houses. So if it is afflicted, it can just make your life go upside down. If it's well placed, then it can make you a legend. Now for example, look at the horoscope of K.N. Rao ji. 8th house is a Rashi of Taurus. Taurus show wealth. Taurus is the Rashi of the Kalpurush, second house of the Kalpurush Kundli. Some take second house for fame, some take it for power. And its Lord Venus is placed in own Rashi in Lagna, with the Mars 2nd and 7th Lord, and with the 10th Lord. Venus Moon is one of the best Raj Yogas according to Gemini astrology. Venus Mars is one of the combination for astrologers, and it's a Raj Yoga. See, whenever you will be looking at the combination, look at from the ascendant, by taking the reference from the ascendant. Just look at the lordship, whichever planets owns Kendra and Trikonas, which yoga they are forming, good or bad yoga, all those things you have already studied a lot. Okay, so see all those Raj Yogas. Like in the chart of K.N. Rao ji, Venus, the 8th Lord and Lagan Lord, is conjunct 10th Lord and 2nd Lord and 7th Lord. One of the best Raj Yogas. Venus Moon is also a natural Gemini Raj Yoga. Venus Mars is also a Raj Yoga for astrologers. So what happened is, when he got into astrology, his life changed totally. Luckily he got the government job too. Yeah, he was so much talented and knowledgeable. Obviously he must have easily got that job. And it also gave him a jump, because now his contacts were with the politicians, the bureaucrats. So it just took him to the next level. The Raj Yoga. This is how the Raj Yoga acts, basically. So his 8th Lord was forming a very good Raj Yoga. That's why K.N. Rao ji rise to such a glory. Now look at the horoscope of B.V. Raman ji. The 8th Lord Mercury is with Venus and Mars. Aquarius is the Lagna. Mars, Venus, Mercury combination in 7th house in Leo sign. One of the best combination Raj Yoga for the Aquarius ascendants. So he did astrology, and I don't think B.V. Raman ji needs an introduction. He ended up being the most legendary of all astrologers in past few decades. So all of them has one factor in the chart, that was 8th Lord was very well connected. Also, most important thing along with 8th house activation is the Scorpio sign, because Scorpio sign is the sign of 8th house in the Kalpurush Kundali, and Kalpurush Kundali holds the most important place out there. Okay, if you want to learn signification, start it from the Kalpurush Kundali. So 8th house Scorpio, see, both act similar way. So just do one thing, look at the Scorpio sign in your horoscope, which house it falls. You will just see, after learning astrology, that house will get more highest transformations. Okay, suppose you have 10th house Scorpio, Aquarius ascendant. The day they will start learning astrology, their career will just totally transform. Okay, if you have Libra ascendant, 2nd house Scorpio, the day you will start learning astrology, your wealth, your fame, your power will totally change. Cancer ascendants, 5th house Scorpio, the day they will start learning astrology, their name, fame, reputation, okay, everything will change totally. Taurus ascendants, they will start doing astrology. In the married life, they will see the major effect. Gemini ascendants, Scorpio falls in the 6th house of diseases, enemies, debts. Okay, so they will start doing astrology. They will see the 6th house things getting activated badly in the chart. The disease, debts, and enemies. See, ultimate thing will be the combination. Okay, the Scorpio will show you the area of the life where the transformation will happen, where the most drastic changes will come, where you will see the events getting fructified soon after learning astrology or any occult vidya like tantra and all. But what will be the ultimate thing, positive or negative, that depends upon the yoga. Suppose good yoga is there, then like Scorpio in the second house, the Mars and second house having good yoga, good strength, then good money. Somehow it's afflicted, then you may turn down to be, you may lose all your wealth. Okay. Similarly, 10th house Scorpio, which is well placed, good planets are respecting it, good Raj Yoga, person might rise to a glory, he might become a king emperor like B.V. Ramanji. But simultaneously, if that is afflicted, that might just totally destroy his career. Mars in Scorpio, the day will person will start learning astrology, he will be just making enemies. Every single day he will be making enemies. Mars is the karaka of enemies. Yeah, other factors will too depend. Gemini ascendant, 6th house afflicted, Mars afflicted suppose, and he start doing astrology, the disease, debts and enemies will just go on increasing. So you all of you are learning astrology basically. So just look at your chart, where in which house the Scorpio falls, that area of life will go transformed. Okay, it will be the highest transformation will come there after learning astrology. How will be the combination? That will decide positive or negative thing. Like Taurus ascendants, the marriage will go totally upside down. But yeah, the good or bad all depends upon the combination. So look at the Scorpio sign also, which house it falls, which combination it makes, where Mars goes, okay, and which planets goes into Scorpio. That particular planet signification will also just go transformed. Because see, you are learning astrology, occult, Scorpio related thing. Obviously, it will activate that Scorpio in the chart. So Scorpio and 8th house both work together. Okay, so look at the 8th house also, same techniques apply to the 8th house. Whichever Rashi goes into the 8th house, that significations of that Rashi, the relative signified or the karma related with that Rashi will totally transform. Okay, and similar way you can apply where the Scorpio goes. So look at where the Scorpio goes and which Rashi goes in the 8th and all those combinations. You will just look at the charts and you will realize, look at your own chart. Like most of you are learning astrology, just look at your own chart. When you did, when you started astrology and what happened in the 8th house and the Scorpio sign. Okay, you will get to know it. So this was also something I want to discuss. See, affliction is a separate thing and a planet having strength is a separate thing. Afflicted planet can be powerful. Okay. Affliction happens when the natural malefics just aspect a particular Rashi or particular planet. Strength depends upon its dignity, its bal, basically the graha bal, we use it, or shadbal, yeah, shadbal. And also a lot of factors like some take Ashtagavarg. Okay, so that's the real strength. Some take the degree method for judging the strength. Like planet in the 0 and 1 degrees is considered to be the most powerful planet. That's why you will see the most of the great bureaucrats or the politicians or the people who have got tremendous power in their life got their sun at 0 or 1 degree or 2 degree maximum. As this is the principle of S.K. Mehta ji. He is clearly mentioned in his books. The planet between 0 to 3 degree, I guess, yeah, it's the most powerful planet. Now the sun, the karaka of power goes into it. Obviously, it will lead a person to a big position. Saturn, if the karaka of service goes into it, the person may get into royal service. Okay. So this is the strength. Affliction is a different funda basically. So 8th lord here must be having good strength and good combination. It shouldn't be badly connected. Whichever house it is connected badly, that house will suffer. Like if your 10th lord goes debilitated in the 8th or 8th lord goes debilitated in the 10th and is afflicted, then take it from in return that your career will just go upside down, your career will just go destroyed. As soon as you will enter into astrology, your career will get totally transformed. So just look at the combinations. 8th lord combination with the 10th. If it's good combination, good Raj Yoga basically, with good strength, then obviously it will lead to you to a bigger more position. Okay, you will get good results. Somehow it's badly connected, then it will cause a major issue. Similarly, 8th lord is badly connected with the 7th lord or Venus, then it may disturb your marriage. It might be like after you started studying astrology, your marriage might go spoiled totally. 8th lord badly connected to 2nd house. After doing astrology, you might start facing the financial losses. Now if it's well connected, well placed, then you might start making good money. So at the end of the day, it's all about the combination of the chart. The combination will decide the ultimate thing. So before you step into this black hole of your horoscope, which is the 8th house, make sure this particular house is having strength. Plus positive strength means it is having some good association, some good Raj Yogas. Strength in negative manner will just make the things go more worse. An afflicted malefic planet having strength can just make your life hell. For example, take the chart of Lord Ram. Lord Rama, 6th lord of enemies, was exalted in Lagna. Now all the Jupiter exalted in Lagna. Just look at his enemy. He got the most powerful of all the enemy, basically the most knowledgeable, Ravan. So here 6th lord was having strength. 6th lord was so powerful that it gave him such a big enemy. Now what was the issue? That 6th lord was afflicted also. In case of Lord Rama's horoscope, the Jupiter is aspected by two natural malefics, Mars and Saturn. Saturn's 10th aspect is there and Mars 7th aspect is there. So this was afflicted Jupiter. It is also showing the curse of Brahmins from past life. The most afflicted planet, take the natural significations of it, that will be the curse. For example, Sun is the most afflicted planet. There is a curse from father or authority or the boss or the government, and that curse will get fruitified in that way only. The person might get kicked out of a government job, or the government might cause trouble to the person. Like in Lord Rama's case, Jupiter was afflicted. It was making a curse of Jupiter. He had killed the wife of Rishi Bhrigu. He had just insulted the Rishi Narad. Now what he got is, he got the biggest enemy, who is a Brahmin, the greatest Brahmin ever born, the Ravana. He had to fight with a Brahmin. Okay, then all those things happened, you know much better. So planet having strength is the most important planet. It can give you results with such an intensity that you can't imagine. But ultimate thing will be the combination, whether it's good combination or bad combination, whether it's benefic or malefics. That will be the deciding factor. What will be the ultimate result? As I told you, an afflicted planet having strength can just make your life go down like anything. You will be just brought into the ground level. Can't even think of. So before just stepping into astrology, make this thing very, very clear in your mind. Okay. So this was the first thing I have to discuss today with you. Now second technique is again for the astrologers. This is from the book of the R.K. Das ji. If you don't know R.K. Das ji, and I would love to introduce him, he is one of the most authentic and original researcher in the modern times. Most of his books are his original researches, not like the copy-paste cats which are just roaming here and there on YouTube. Most of the people, what they do, copy a technique from a book. The worth of the book is not more than 300 rupees. They will launch a course for 30,000 rupees. This is how the commercial astrology business is running these days. But leave all those idiots aside. Now I'm talking about R.K. Das ji. Then R.K. Das ji is the most brilliant researcher. He had written one book, Parul Sutram, on professions, and he has given some snapshot techniques, some snapshot rules on determining the profession. You will not find those books in any classics or anywhere. Those are all, I think, his own observational. It came out of observational astrology or his own research, but it works like butter. Like if you master that one book on career profession, that is Parul Sutram, believe me, you will become a career expert. But thing is, he used D1 and D10, but D10 he uses is not the traditional D10 of Parashara. It's the Sadhu Paddhati D10. Sadhu Paddhati D10 is a different concept, and he was the one who brought it back to the limelight, I think. Yeah, because all his work was based on this Sadhu Paddhati D10. And Saptarishi Astrology software, which is the Saptarishi Astrologist Desk, the mobile app, Android app, in that you will find this D10, Sadhu Paddhati D10. Just go on to the charts and click on the D10, you will find it. So you can check it from there. Also in Jagannath Hora it is there. So that Sadhu Paddhati D10 are checked in on hundreds of charts. It works like magic. I will put the link of that book down there in the comment section. You can just buy it from there. So in that book, Arkadasi has written, for astrologers, look at the 2nd and the 11th from Sun. If 2nd and 11th house from Sun in the chart is having strong influence of planets, exalted planets, benefic planets, or a very strong combination, or its lord is having a lot of strength, then that shows that a legendary astrologer is born, or an astronomer is born. Astrologer or astronomer, this was a combination for the person who knows about the stars, about the stars. So this was the combination. Now look at the chart of KN Rao ji. Sun in 12th house. The 2nd from Sun has the best Raja Yoga, Venus, Moon, Mars. 11th from Sun has an exalted Jupiter. The best. Look at this chart, like this principle works so well in this chart. Now come to the B.V. Raman ji's chart, okay? B.V. Raman ji has 6th house Sun. The 2nd house from Sun is having the best combination for his Aquarius Lagna, that is Venus, Mars and Mercury. The best Raj Yoga in Leo sign, the royal sign. And the 11th from Sun is having an exalted moon in Taurus with Saturn, the Lagan Lord. And it is also aspected by the Jupiter. Arkadasi has clearly written 2nd and 11th from Sun should be influenced by planets, either occupied or aspected with strength, with good association. More the association, stronger the planets, best is the Raja Yoga. Check this particular thing in D1 chart first, okay? Then check this particular thing in the Sadhu Paddhati D10 to make a confirmation, okay? D1 chart is the base. From D1 you begin the journey. D10 will just amplify it like a microscope. You can get a clear vision. And which D10 you need to use? It's the Sadhu Paddhati D10. Like just 2 horoscopes. The most legendary astrologers of this era, B.V. Raman ji, KN Rao ji, and this technique works like butter. KN Rao ji is an exalted Jupiter in 11th from Sun, and then the best Raja Yoga, Venus, Moon, Mars, and 2nd from Sun. Simultaneously, the B.V. Raman ji also is having Mars, Venus, Mercury combination in the 7th house, and 11th from Sun is having exalted moon aspected by Jupiter. Another astrologer I know, one of the most legendary astrologers of this modern era, he too was having a very stronger influence of planet in 2nd and 11th from Sun. 2nd from Sun, I think there was Saturn and Venus very well placed, and 11th was having Mars and aspect of moon. So this particular combination of legendary astrologers works so well. Just check it on the charts. Like I personally too have this combination. Both 2nd and 11th from Sun is having exalted planets and very powerful. But I don't see any such results. I don't know. I think the other factor might also be influencing. Okay, I'm just joking. But yeah, this combination works so well, so well. Not only look at the 2nd and 11th house from Sun, but also look at their lords. The 2nd lord from Sun and the 11th lord from Sun. All of them must be very prominent in the chart. If it's prominent, that's the best combination for astrologer or astronomers. This is another technique. This will just make the confirmation. Now, one more technique I personally observed is whenever the 1, 5, 9 houses get afflicted, or whenever these houses fall in the Rashi of malefics, Saturn, Mars, Rahu, Ketu, Mercury in case if it is afflicted, then those guys can be the most brilliant astrologers. 1, 5, 9 afflicted, that Dharma Trikona which we call as 1, 5, 9, those houses of having malefic influence, then the person can turn out to be most brilliant astrologer, the most brilliant predictor. I think the similar principle was shared by the legendary astrologer Suresh Chandra Mishra ji. He had a lot of interviews with the Saptarishi Astrology channel. You can watch him, the most brilliant one. And he too discussed the same concept, but he just added one more thing, the 12th house. He told 1, 5 and 12 houses should be having malefic influence. I was just using 1, 5, 9. But yeah, as the legendary astrologer is speaking, then 12th house must be very important, because if you have read some good books, then you might have came across this point that 12th house is also most important house in case of an astrologer. Strong influence on the 12th house can make a person a good astrologer, like what we take from the stronger association. Powerful planets. Okay, so Suresh Chandra Mishra ji, I will post it was a 5-minute video, I think. In that 5-minute video, very short but very brilliant video, he shared the combination for the brilliant predictors and the Yuga defining astrologers. I will share the link of the video in the description box. So he just shared the two techniques. One was the 1, 5, 9, 12. 1, 5, 9 and 12 houses should be afflicted, or there must be a Rashi of malefic. Secondly, Venus or Jupiter as an Atma Karaka planet. Venus or Jupiter as an Atma Karaka planet placed in the Navamansha of a malefic, or in the Navamansha they are associated with the malefics, can make a brilliant astrologer, a very practical astrologer. This was shared by Suresh Chandra Mishra ji. Okay, you can watch his video too. He's a brilliant guy basically. So Venus and Jupiter as an Atma Karaka associated with the malefics in D9 chart, or by aspect or by the conjunction. That also makes a brilliant astrologer. Now, one more thing, if you follow the Western astrology concept, then you might be knowing the Western astrologers use Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, outer planets also. Even I have seen that these planets work well. Although they are not mentioned in Vedic, but in the Western astrology they use it. So I think Uranus and Neptune and Pluto, if these planets also get associated with 1, 5, 9, 8th or 12th houses or their lords, is also make good astrologers, especially with Mercury. Like in one of the books, I don't remember the name of the book right now, there was given to Mercury's association with Neptune or Uranus makes a brilliant astrologer. Okay, or Pluto, it was not written there, but you can test it, because Pluto, I think it's the owner of the Scorpio sign. I don't know much about Western astrology. Okay, but yeah, outer planets influencing Mercury, Jupiter, or the 8th lord, 12th house, 12th lord, 8th house. Okay, the houses related with astrology, then surely it also indicates a brilliant astrologer. Secondly, now comes to the most special part. The most special part is the combination for brilliant predictors. See, I have just observed one thing. All the brilliant predictors ever born had a most powerful Rahu. For example, take the case of S.K. Mehta ji, the most original researcher, the most brilliant astrologer ever born, who used to predict the marriage date of the parents, the date you will get a job. He used to predict everything. Like he will just look at the horoscope for 5 minutes or even less than that, and he will give the prediction to the date, and hardly used to fail. But he was a hardcore smoker as far as I know, and he used to drink a lot. Okay, always having a cigarette in his mouth. So basically that Rahu element, because cigarette, smoking, drinking is all at Rahu. So Rahu must be connected to second house, second lord. Take this principle. Okay, for brilliant predictors I'm talking about, not about the astrologers who have lot of knowledge but they can't predict. But I'm talking about the astrologers who really predict well. So in their charts, one thing which I have found in my experience is the second house or the second lord from Lagna or Arudha Lagna or Arudha Lagna or the Lagan lord Lagna, Arudha Lagna or the Lagan lord should be influenced by Rahu, or its lord should be influenced by Rahu, and a very powerful Rahu, not a weak Rahu. So when this powerful Rahu got associated with second house, second lord, it makes the brilliant predictor. Like I have exalted Rahu from second to Arudha Lagna, but leave it. Why I'm giving my example. Just take the example of Ken Raoji. He is having stationary Rahu in the 6th house. Actually, stationary Rahu is the most powerful Rahu. Okay, so whenever Rahu goes stationary, it gets lot of strength. So now another example is of V.V. Ramanji. Rahu is placed in the second house itself, and the second lord Jupiter is aspecting it from the 10th house by the fifth aspect. So we all know about his predictive abilities. So all the brilliant predictors, they just had the second Rahu. And how to activate this Rahu? Now I will not promote the drug abuse or something like that. Okay, like you need a cigarette or a drink with you that only you can predict. Yeah, that's the best method of activation. If you can do that, what can be better than that? Because I personally know a lot of astrologers, the predictors, the real predictors. They smoke and drink a lot. Okay, they smoke and drink a lot. But what can be best alternative? The best alternative can be just light an incense stick, the dhoop or agarbatti, what we call, in your house continuously. Keep that smoky element in the house, or smoke hookah if you can, but again leave all those things. Okay, so keep that smoky element, or eat chocolates. Rahu is the karaka of chocolates. Eat more and more chocolates. Before doing a consultation, before doing a reading, eat a chocolate and then just test it how your predictions goes on. So see, if you've got the combination, you're lucky, you're the blessed one, that you've got the second house, second lord connection with Rahu. But you need to activate it. It's not like you will just keep sitting and it will give results. Okay, you need to activate it. So just test this principle out. Second thing I found out is the most brilliant predictors also have very powerful Venus in their chart. See, Venus is the practicality. Jupiter is only the philosophy and the knowledge. Okay, if like a person dies, someone goes to Jupiter, Jupiter will say it was bound to happen, it's the law of nature, he might have got the moksha, just do this ritual, or just means he will just talk about philosophical things a lot. But if someone dies and he goes to Venus, then Venus will be like, I know Sanjeevani Vidya, let's bring him back to the life. Okay, so he's so much practical. Like, you just look at the charts of all the people who are very practical. Very practical. You will see those people have very powerful Venus. Or very powerful Venus, or Venus in earthy signs, 2, 6, 10. When Venus goes in earthy sign, or Venus gets strength in the chart, it becomes very powerful, then the person becomes very practical. Okay, that practicality comes into that guy. So Venus is that practicality. He can make a dead person go alive. Secondly, I have seen Venus giving, Venus-based astrologers are giving the best predictions. Okay, so just test this principle also out. Secondly, Venus-based astrologers can also give you the best remedy. Like, although I don't believe much in remedies, but yeah, remedial part is also having some importance in astrology, and by giving the due respect to it, I also believe in few things. Okay, and I will discuss all those things in a kind of series. Okay, there I will just discuss about remedies only, and I will just remove all the misconceptions. But yeah, in case a remedy works, then just go to Venus-based astrologer. His remedy can do wonders. But again, remedies have a lot of limitations. If I start talking about it, then it might take an hour. So leave it for the while. Third comes the Mercury-based astrologers. Now these guys, like, I'm fed up of these guys. Like, I personally don't like Mercury-based astrologers. See, whenever you will read a classic of astrology, you will see for astrology, the highest importance is given to planet Mercury. But now that time has gone, that era is gone, the Desh Kal Patra has changed, and everything has changed. Now Mercury don't hold much importance. Because, see, what used to be in earlier times, there were no softwares. And in order to make prediction, first you need to cast a chart, you need to cast the dashas. And calculation used to take long time. Even if you have to cast a chart on Vimshotri Dasha, it might take you half an hour. So, earlier times when the modern tools were not available, okay, at that time, Mercury was of use. Because see, Mercury is the karaka of calculation, the mathematical ability. I told you, brilliant Mercury having combination with Ketu shows a brilliant mathematician. So at that time, if you had a good maths, obviously you can construct a chart in the right way. And if you have constructed the chart well, you can obviously make few predictions. But now came the legend of the era, PVR Narasimha Rao ji. and he fixed everyone's Mercury out there. He was like, I'm gifting you all Jagannath Hora software, let us fix the Mercury of all the astrologers out there. Now you don't even need a Mercury, because everything is there under one click. Just click on it, you will get all the right calculation. Now it's all about your intuition and your techniques, the predictive ability. Okay, like for example, take the chart of the Shakuntala Devi. In her chart, Mercury Ketu is conjunct. In last video I also told Mercury Ketu shows a brilliant mathematician, and it's in Libra sign. According to S.K. Mehta ji, Mercury in 3, 7, 11 signs behaves the best. It gives the best results. 3, 7, 11 Aries sign. Now Shakuntala Devi was a prominent astrologer, and as far as I know, she used to make some good predictions. But what was the reason? The reason was her mathematical ability. Because what a normal guy at that time could take 1 hour to calculate, she used to do it 1 minute. For example, the calculation of Kalchakra Dasha is the most toughest. But when we read Kalchakra Dasha, there are certain techniques which are most simple to use. Like just look at the quantum jump, where the Dasha is jumping, where the quantum jump is happening. Predict in a snapshot way. You don't even need to look at the horoscope, that this was the most transformative period of your life. So this much easy is the KCD, but its calculation is the most toughest part. Now this was the advantages. Suppose at that time there was 2 astrologers, one Shakuntala Devi, one some other guy. So if Shakuntala Devi had to do astrology, then she could just calculate the KCD in 1 minute, and just by looking at the sequence she could make a stunning prediction. That's how she got the prominence. Whereas the other guy would spend whole the day in calculating KCD. Still, you wouldn't trust him, because you won't know, might be he calculated the wrong Dasha sequence. But see, time has changed. We must be thankful to the P.V. Narasimha Rao ji. He fixed our Mercury so well. Now we don't need calculations. Now Ganit part is almost lost from astrology. Now just need the intuition and the right knowledge, the right predictive techniques, and just make the predictions out. Okay, and for making prediction, I already told you need the combination. Nothing happens to a person outside the limits of the chart. No matter how much astrology you learn, how much videos you watch, how much books you read, in order to become a predictor, the combination must be there. I discussed the combinations, which combinations are good for astrologers. Okay, so leave this Mercury kind of astrology. What is the problem with Mercury based astrologers? In modern time, these are those guys who will give you a 100-page report about the horoscope. Okay, they will be like, take this 100 pages report, but they can't predict. Like hardly they can predict, but they will give you a big report. They will take all the effort. They will write everything in detail, but what's the use of that report? At the end of the day, we need predictions. So Mercury, I don't give much importance. Okay. For predictions, Mercury is a game changer when it comes to books, the information, because US of information, that's the information era we are living in. Information is the real power. Mercury rules over the book, the information. Okay, so Mercury, yeah, it is still holds a supremacy in astrology, but not in the predictions, because predictive part has much to do with Rahu and Venus rather than the Mercury. And I just discuss with you a practical example of Shakuntala Devi, how the things changed. Okay. Now one more thing is Jupiter based astrologers. Yeah, these guys have good knowledge. Okay. But Jupiter lacks that practicality as far as I know. He's a good advisor. He knows a lot about philosophy, God, realization, a very sattvic planet. But it lacks practicality. And what is my opinion is, thing which is not practical is of no use to me. Like if a technique is written in a particular book, if it's practically giving me results, I will use it. Otherwise, I will just dump it out. Okay, I will not use it. So I basically run behind the practicality. Few people are there who run behind the knowledge. They just want to listen. They just want to enjoy. They just want to feed their soul with it. So they can go to Jupiter-based astrologers. The Jupiter-based astrologers always give them good stories, good kathas, okay, lot of about mythology, and you will just enjoy listening to them. But if you want prediction, you need to go to Venus and Rahu based astrology, especially Rahu. Rahu is the game changer. See, I'm planning to do a video on Rahu, removing the misconceptions related to it. Because what I see around is lot of people are cursing Lord Rahu. They are like, Lord Rahu is like this, Lord Rahu is like that. But they don't look at the things practically. Here the reality is we are living in the Kali Yuga and we can't do anything. I can't go back into the time when the Sat Yuga where the Jupiter used to have a supremacy over all above all the other planets. Okay, now it's Kali Yuga, I need to accept it. And in the Kali Yuga, Rahu, Saturn, the malefics are the real bosses. So, Lord Rahu holds a supremacy above everything. I will do a video, I will remove each and every misconception related to Rahu. After that, you will start loving Lord Rahu. And I guarantee you all, you can live without Jupiter, but you can't live without Rahu. And yeah, for predictions, for predictive astrologers, 2nd and 5th house must be very strong. Or their lords must be very strong. The second house is the Vak Siddhi, the speech. Job of an astrologer is to predict. 5th house is the ability to forecast the future. Or fifth house is the person who knows about the past, present and future, the Trikala Gyani. 5th house is your past life merits, your sadhana, which will help you today to make those predictions. So 2nd and 5th, like a lot of classic talk about it, the 5th house is given much importance. So for predictions, look at the 2nd and 5th. The lords should be well placed and these houses should also having well placed planets. Okay, I think I've discussed everything. Most of the combinations I've already discussed. Yeah, one more thing. Ketu in Sagittarius. Ketu in Sagittarius give rise to the most revolutionary astrologers. Look at the chart of Pandit Sanjay Rath ji. Look at the chart of R. Sanathan ji. Look at the chart of Krishnamurti ji. All of them is having Ketu in Sagittarius. Okay, look at the chart of the most legendary of all astrologers. Ketu in Sagittarius, you will see this key feature in the chart. Okay, so this Ketu in Sagittarius also give rise to revolutionary astrologers. So this was all about the combination for astrologers, and I did lot of informal talks with you. Okay, I hope you liked it. Please like, share and subscribe and show your love as you usually do, and please comment and test the techniques out aggressively. Keep sharing your feedbacks. How will I get to know that my knowledge is helping you, or what I am sharing is helping you? Only through your feedbacks. If you are not sharing the feedback, then it's useless. Okay, so see you guys next time. Next time I will be uploading, I will start basic series now. The next lecture will be the most important lecture of all. Okay, like that single lecture can make you a predictor. Okay, so wait for it, and I will try to bring PPTs and charts, but I can't promise. Okay, I can just try it. I will just try to find out the crack version of Office and all. So, okay, thank you and see you guys later. Okay, bye.